Today I want to show you how I make my super quick flying geese. With this method you can make 4 flying geese, identical flying geese, really quickly, 4 at a time. My flying geese here are 2 inches by 4 inches finished, and that's important to remember. No matter what size you're making your flying geese, if you're making traditional flying geese, they always have to be twice as long as they are wide. For this example, it's 2 by 4 inches. Okay. Now what we're going to start with is, in the light green, we're going to cut a square that is 1 1/4 inches bigger than the finished length of your flying geese units. Since mine are 4 inches long, this square is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 inches. Next, we're going to have 4 little squares of the other fabric in the flying geese units. And these will be 7/8 of an inch bigger than the finished width of your flying geese. So since mine are 2 inches wide, these are 2 7/8 by 2 7/8 squares. So that's what we need for 4 flying geese. Next, I'm going to take my marking pen. Since this is a dark fabric, I'm using a white marker. This is my favorite. And we're going to draw a diagonal line, corner to corner, on the wrong side. This is solid, so it's hard to tell. But on the wrong side of each of these squares, a corner to corner diagonal line. Okay. Now I'm going to take my 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 inch square and some pins. I'm not usually a big pinner, but it really helps for this. And 2 of our little gray squares right here. And we're going to pin them as follows. We're going to line up these 2 little corners here. And I'll pin this in position. I hope you can see where my little line is. This is right sides together, so this is the wrong side of the gray fabric. Then I'm going to take another gray square and put it on the diagonal corner. Notice how these lines line up. If you drew a straight line, they should. And I'm going to pin that into position. Then I'm going to go over to my sewing machine. Now we're going to stitch a seam 1/4 inch away from that center line that we drew. So all along the center line, corner to corner. Just going to wobble a little bit, but just make sure you keep it lined up over here in the middle. All the way corner to corner. Then we'll flip it around. See, we have this little line here now. Flip it around and do the same thing on the other side. Okay. So what we're ending up here is something that looks a little bit like this. I'm going to take this unit I just made and cut it apart along that drawn line we made, right here in the middle. And I need a new blade on my cutter. We'll end up with 2 little units like this, which we're going to take over to the ironing board. So I ironed these 2 open. Remember, they looked like this. I just folded this over and ironed them, and now we have 2 sections that look like this. Now we'll take one of these and one of our remaining squares. See, there's a line. We're once again going to put it right sides together like that. I'm going to use one pin again. And we're going to sew 1/4 inch on each side of the white line, the drawn line, as we did in the first part. Like this. You can see that. Once again, we're going to cut on our drawn line. And we'll end up with 2 little pieces like that. Remember, we still have this one left. So these are just going to be 2 flying geese. I'm going to go to the ironing board and iron these open like that. And there are my 2 little flying geese. Now I'm just going to repeat that last step for the other section I have. Once again, just go back a little bit and you'll see pin, sew. And when it's all said and done, I have 4 flying geese in a jiffy.